Everyone is sleeping on this Miami Heat organization despite having one of the better off seasons out of the entirety of the NBA. I'm here to break down really what the expectations should be and how they can overlook the very underwhelming projections for this Heat organization. We'll break down all of that and what key players are going to be the biggest pieces going forward. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember, if you'd like to stay up to date with everything Miami Heat, scroll down, click the subscribe button, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed to the channel. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down the schedule release and really how the projections for this Heat organization aren't really adding up, because now that the schedule is officially out and we actually have an idea of what it's going to look like from game 1 to game 82 for this Miami Heat organization, there's no way an over-under of 37.5 wins should be even remotely accurate for this Miami Heat organization. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Here's the entirety of the schedule. If you'd like to pause it and actually look into it one by one, game by game, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to break down all the key dates and key points. Shout out to Heat Lead on Twitter for posting this in a cleaner format to read visually and just break down easier. So the Heat have 15 back-to-back games, which is tied for second. If you don't know how it works, there are 15 teams that are given that play 16 back-to-backs, which is going to be then tied for first place. And then there are 3 groups of 5, resulting in another 15 teams equaling 30 that then play 15 games back-to-back, 14 games back-to-back, and 13 games back-to-back. Now, they only have 2 home games in their first 8 games played. The season opener is versus the Orlando Magic, opening night versus the New York Knicks, 5 televised games, no rivalry week opponents. Jimmy returns on November 19th, and Duncan returns on November 29th. So those are really the biggest dates and most key dates going forward for the Miami Heat organization going into this up-and-coming regular season. I will say 15 back-to-backs. No, it says tied for second most. We are a part of every team in the NBA playing 15 or more back-to-back games this season. Yes, there are a handful of teams playing 1 or maybe 2 less. So there's no big difference. They're going to have to be able to go out there and play back-to-backs and have to be competitive against very legitimate teams. And with the roster currently constructed, I think they have more than an ample chance to do so. Haywood Highsmith, I will say, is now a Brooklyn Net in exchange for 2 draft picks. I think they're going to be able to go out there and really be competitive, despite not having Haywood Highsmith anymore. And that even says Duncan Robinson. ESPN has not updated their depth chart in a long time. Okay, this isn't even entirely accurate. I didn't even realize that Duncan Robinson's name is still on the depth chart for the Miami Heat organization through ESPN. That's a bit weird. ESPN, update your shit. It has been a while. But yeah, couldn't sleep last night. Too excited for the start of the season. I 100% agree with you, Miami Heat organization on Twitter. As Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware, this collection of players is really going to work. Last year, they won 37 games. This year, that is their over-under projection at 37.5. Good, a decent value at minus 120 to go over. I think it is a absolute lock. And I'm not here to give gambling advice, and I'm not trying to be extremely biased in this take. But Miami last year won 37 games. This year, they're going to have Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware rounding out their starting 5, followed up by players like Pelle Larsson, who looked very good last year as a rookie. Obviously, Jaime Jaquez Jr., who has now been in the league for 3 seasons. He is a very complimentary, I should say, and just different brand of basketball, as he doesn't play the new school brand. It's more of a hard-nosed, defensive-minded guy who's going to slap the floor, play good defense, rebound the basketball, bring the ball up the floor. He's not even going to look to score first, and if he does, it's going to be by attacking downhill and scoring at the basket. He's not the only one. Nikola Jovic, someone that was untouchable in trade talks, even for Kevin Durant this past offseason, has not, or is still there. Obviously, Devion Mitchell, another absolutely masterful piece coming off the bench as a defensive mind. And the biggest name is going to be Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Yes, Kel'el Ware has a lot of optimism, a lot of hope surrounding him going into this up-and-coming season after what we saw during his rookie tenure last year. But with that improvement, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. But he's not going to be the guy that gets the entire job done because he's going into his second year in the NBA. He is not as physically like physically built up to this point, or physically imposing up to this point in his career. I believe that will come in years going on. But Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Bam cannot regress like he did last year. He has to be better than he was last year. Give this Heat team something to really work with. Be that point forward who doesn't have to score every time, but does demand enough attention where he can facilitate and set up others on the floor because of really the respect and the demand in which he requires. And then finally, Tyler Hero. This young man is going into the second of the final year of his contract, and he has something to play for. Players like Austin Reeves want contracts along the same lines as Tyler Hero. Hero's coming off a career year last year and has the opportunity to go out there and really separate himself from a lot of this other just above average talent or just above par level talent. And that may be sounding like a slight, but the players he's in comparison to, he can by far and away just pull away from them this season if he goes out there and replicates what we saw last season. And the Heat are going to need it based off these odds. Not only is their win-loss over-under set at 37.5 going into this regular season, but also to win their division. Not even the conference, but the division. In the Southeast Division, they are ranked third at plus 1,200, only behind the Atlanta Hawks at plus 180, and the outright favorites in the Orlando Magic at minus 230. It's going to be a hell of a race in the Southeast Division. I think Miami's going to be vastly overlooked and will be respectable in that division as well as the conference as a whole. But then you have legitimate teams like Atlanta and Orlando who did get better this past offseason and continue to get better as experience is gained. It's going to be an exciting season. I think Miami has the ability to go out there and make good with what they are being given and go out there and really make a difference. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer by the day, which, again, it can't come fast enough. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. Let me know down below your overall thoughts and opinions on the projections for this Miami Heat organization, whether it's the wins and losses at 37.5. Would you take the over? Would you take the under? Also, the rankings in the division as it currently sits, the Heat being the third odds favorite to go out there and win the Southeast Division behind Atlanta as well as Orlando. Thoughts and opinions on that. I think Miami is going to be legitimately, obviously, in that top three in the division. I think they have a chance to even make a run at the top spot in that division, depending on how injuries and load management goes for those other two organizations in the Hawks as well as the Magic. Overall, though, it should be very, very competitive from start to finish, as again, the Miami Heat do not have the most favorable start to the NBA season, as only 2 of their first 8 games are going to be played at home in Miami at the Kaseya Center, which does not help. But last year Miami was so bad at home. Honestly, it might be a good thing. It may feel a little challenge. Go out there. They have to win with their backs up against the wall on the road. I really do enjoy the idea of that. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Again, let me know down below your overall thoughts and opinions on everything we broke down, and I'll see you on the next episode of Heat Digest.